2, 1.
All right, good morning. Good Monday morning.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit like a Monday, Sarah.
Yeah, happy MLK
Yes.
Day. I know a lot of people have today off. If you do have this federal holiday off, I hope you're enjoying yourself or doing something, a bit of service out there.
Yeah,
today.
yeah, definitely. That is the point of today with MLK Junior Day, and we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But of course, this is KSAT News Now, starting your week off. This is our bite-sized newscast. And before we get to some of our top stories of the day, we also want to mention that this is the first day that we're going to have this KSAT News Now in podcast form. Are you a podcaster?
I am
you
a
listen.
podcaster. I listen to like every day. I have like 3 or 4 podcasts I listen
Your
to every day.
go-tos.
So
Yeah.
This is cool because it's just a little bite size of news, and I love the podcasts that are just, you know, the little bite size ones, the daily ones too.
There you go.
So it's always good to put more content out there since everyone loves that content.
Yeah, so make sure that you guys subscribe and like it wherever you get your podcasts. That'll be Apple iTunes, Google, Android, all those fun places. And of course, as Sarah just mentioned, today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we will actually talk with the son of the man who created the march right here in San Antonio.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool stuff.
I have his book here. I was reading bits of it, so I'm excited to talk to him in just a bit. And it's an awful morning.
Oh, man.
Don't even want to like look at people right now after the Cowboys. If you're a Cowboys
make
fan,
eye contact?
like ourselves, you know, my household was very upset and distraught yesterday,
Right.
and I'm sure yours was too.
Yeah, I wonder how many, just decided maybe to not even show up to work if they did not have the day off today. And speaking of the Cowboys, Sarah, we actually have some video of some Cowboys fans acting badly after this loss.
It wasn't good.
No, it's not good. And of course, some memes that are circulating on the internet right now of sad Cowboys fans.
Sad Cowboys fans, like these two right here. And
Oh,
of course,
boy.
we're going to talk to Sarah Spivey a bit about weather, but first we want to get to our top stories.
That's right. And we start with the latest, Sarah, on that standoff at a North Texas synagogue. The FBI is now investigating the attack as a terrorist incident, while police in England took 2 teens into custody for questioning as part of that investigation.
Yeah, so the FBI identified the man who took 4 hostages on Saturday as 44-year-old Malik Fasil Akram. He is from the United Kingdom. All 4 hostages were safely released after an 11-hour standoff. And Akram, that suspect, was shot to death, but it's unclear whether the 44-year-old was killed by officers or if he took his own life.
Yeah, still a lot of questions there. So officials are trying to figure out a motive. During the standoff, Akram repeatedly referenced a Pakistani woman widely known as Lady Al-Qaeda, who was convicted on terrorism charges back in 2010. Akram could be heard saying that he targeted the synagogue because the U.S., quote, only cares about Jewish lives, end quote. He also called for that woman to be released.
Yeah, a lot of new information coming out that, and of course we'll keep you updated as we learn more about that. But first, an underwater volcano near Tonga has erupted for the 3rd time in 4 days, sending tsunami waves crashing across the Pacific.
Yeah, this satellite imagery is just unbelievable when you see this online. Saturday's eruption was likely the biggest recorded anywhere on the planet in more than 30 years, according to experts.
So tsunami waves were also recorded thousands of miles away along the United States west coast, in Peru, New Zealand, and Japan. In Peru, at least 2 people died after being swept up by high waves. And there's also a really crazy video where there's a man in Tonga that he's just recording, and then you hear him say, "Oh my gosh, did you hear that?" And you hear it, and it's just this really loud, like boom.
And we're looking at some social media videos that have been posted here. Of course, this is a tiny island off the coast of Australia there, so obviously some ripple effects there taking place, but you already see some of the destruction from these videos on social media. And again, look at that. That's just unbelievable stuff. The imagery from the satellite and
fascinating video.
Yeah, some pretty crazy stuff there. Okay, Sarah, well, today would have been the 100th birthday of the legendary Golden Girl, Betty White.
You know, despite her passing, the San Antonio Zoo will host a Thank You for Being a Friend Day to honor White's legacy for her work in animal welfare, conservation efforts, and zoo advocacy.
Betty White, she did so much for animals. Standard admission to the zoo will be $8, and San Antonio Zoo members can also, of course, well, bring a friend, because that's what we're talking about, free of charge.
I love that video of her too there. Yeah, so 65 years and older, you will also receive free admission today at the zoo.
Yeah, and of course the zoo is open today till 5 o'clock. And we were talking about talking about this during the 9 a.m. where it's always kind of a good day to go to the zoo during the holidays.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit different.
Yeah, and I know a lot of area animal shelters are also having Betty White promotions. I was just talking to Garrett Berger in the newsroom. He's talking to the ADL and the Humane Society about what they're doing. So if you tune into our 5 and 6 o'clock newscast, we'll have more on that.
Yeah, definitely a lot of stuff going on there as we honor the life of Betty White, of course, in a bunch of different ways. So, of course, today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's a day of service recognized as a national holiday.
Yeah, San Antonio is known for having one of the largest marches in the country, which unfortunately had to be canceled for a second year in a row due to COVID-19.
That's right, and instead the city and MLK Commission held a virtual march this morning and have set up 2 COVID testing sites and vaccine clinics.
So one is at Pittman Sullivan Park, where the march usually ends up, and the other is at the Davis Scott YMCA on Iowa Street. Both of those are going on right now.
And it's also a big day, Sarah, across our area because today is also the start of DreamWeek. It's a citywide summit full of all kinds of events that bring us together, from arts to music, entertainment, education, and so much more. And we have a full list of events on our website, KSAT.com.
Yeah, I know our reporters Tiffany Huerta and Max Massey. Max was out there at Sullivan Pittman Park, and Tiffany was talking about how they're collecting different photos of when the march actually started with the local museum here. So we'll have more on those stories at our noon show as well.
Yeah, and you were talking about SACAM is the one that's collecting all that stuff and donations. And did you you've covered the MLK March here?
Yes, I have.
Yes. So,
yes.
I mean, I miss it. I miss just the amount of people that are there, but obviously for COVID reasons, trying to hold off a little bit there.
So talking about that march, here's a little explanation on how it came to be. Every year, cities around the country march in the name of Martin Luther King Jr. So how did San Antonio come to be home to one of the largest gatherings in the country?
When Dr. King was assassinated, that took him to a different level.
Inspired by Dr. King, Reverend Raymond A. Callies started a march in 1968 to demand better infrastructure on the east side. It's been said that about 30 people showed up that year.
Reverend Callies kind of started marching before people even knew what marching was. He was always out there trying to get attention, and I think that's when he caught the ear of Henry Cisneros.
In 1986, the city of San Antonio established the MLK Commission, and a year later held the first official march where Rosa Parks joined in. From there, more and more big names like John Lewis and Tom Joyner attracted bigger and bigger crowds.
And we did the live broadcast at the Municipal Auditorium, which is now the Tobin Center. And it was so many people, you couldn't even get in. And it was all races, all ages, trying to get in there to see Tom Joyner. Then it began to attract other speakers. Those people started saying, yes, I need to go to San Antonio for this.
The 30-people crowd eventually grew to 50,000, then 300,000.
I think we would have probably had 500,000 this year because there's so many things, there's so many issues that's out in the community.
All right, so you heard there that this all started with a man named R.A. Callies, and that is for Dr. Raymond Aaron Callies Sr. Unfortunately, Dr. Callies passed away in 2011, but he left behind a legacy here in San Antonio. So joining us to talk more about how this march has evolved is his son, Arlington Callies. Good morning, Arlington. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. We have Mr. And I think we are trying to get some connection. Mr. Callies, if you could turn your camera on, then we will definitely get to you here. But I know we are looking at his book from a little bit earlier, Sarah. You have it right there.
Yeah, so there's his wife.
Okay.
There you are.
Yeah. Mr. Callies, how you doing, sir?
Yeah,
we are good. I see you got the book.
You got the book. We have the book. No, not a problem. Thank you so much for joining us. So we just, heard a little bit about how the march started, but can you tell us a little bit how your father created this march?
Yeah, my dad, first march was actually in 1968, and Dad marched in the commemoration of Martin Luther King. But after that, he recognized and noticed there was a lot of deficiencies on the east side, and so we marched for things like traffic lights, sidewalks, better drainage, the Martin Luther King statue, which is now located at the corner of East Houston Street and New Brownsville Street. And we we marched because a lot of times when we asked for these things from the city council, they were not giving it to us. So he took to the streets. And whenever we marched, more and more people started joining in. His goal was never to have the largest march or one of the largest marches in the United States. His goal was to bring recognition to the city council or to the city of San Antonio that, hey, we need some things done on the east side, and that more and more people started joining in every year as we marched.
Mm-hmm.
So Arlington, you know, I was going through your book a little bit earlier. I loved some of those details you include in it, like your father didn't own his own pair of shoes until he was 12 years old. I loved the excerpt where you talk about how, you know, at 5 a.m, you would hear your father's footsteps and you would have to type up his letters to city council. I think that is just so amazing that you were part of building that legacy. So what was it about your father? If he didn't come from a lot of money and a lot of sources, that your father was able to grab the attention of so many people, not just here in San Antonio, but across the country?
Well, I think my dad being tied into, he was a very courageous man. He was a very religious man, and his faith actually drove him, and people recognized and saw the light that illuminated in him, and they just wanted to be a part of what he was doing. And that, you know, my dad cared for people. He often involved the youth in a lot of things. He helped them get city jobs. Matter of fact, he taught shop. I'm right here at the MLK Academy, where this is being filmed right now, where my dad taught for 36 years, yeah, as a school teacher. Believe it or not, I've run across some of his students today that say, hey, these are the book holders that I made when I was in your dad's shop class. And it's just amazing to me the number of lives that he touched and is still affecting in a positive way.
Yeah, that's great, Arlington. In fact, we just heard from one of our producers that our director here, Kevin Heisen, was one of your father's students. So we even see that connection here in the KSAT newsroom. So we see you out this morning. Obviously, it's another tough year for the MLK Commission, having to cancel this year's march once again due to COVID concerns. But how do you think your dad would want people honoring the day and honoring not only, you know, Dr. King's legacy, but the legacy that you guys have built here in San Antonio?
I would think he would want us to march and continue to unite, because at the end of the day, it was all about brotherhood. It was all about working together, regardless of your background, regardless of your race. None of that mattered, guys. It really didn't matter to him. Can we come together as one unit, as one people, okay, one nation under God, and get things done and work together and talk about things, create some dialogue. Let's have some conversations. That's what he wanted. That's what he would have wanted today.
So with this year's in-person march canceled, what are y'all's hopes for next year?
We hope we get the march next year.
Yeah.
That's our hope. That's our prayer.
All right, Arlington, anything else that you would like to say about your book here or about your father that you would like for our viewers to know about, or any further information that you might have when it comes to this book, which is titled The Man Behind the March. Great title there.
The Man Behind the March is the life and legacy of my dad. And what inspired me to write it was that I was trying to connect the dots. I thank God for Henry Cisneros and the commission and the city endorsing it in 1986, and then we had our first march in 1987. But the MLK statue was unveiled in 1982. So it's like, well, what happened between 1968 and 1987? And so I wanted everybody to know that there was a lot more that went on before the commission got involved. I truly thank God for the commission, Renee Watson, all that they've done in keeping my dad's legacy alive. So the book was not written to discredit, but the book was written to enhance what they're doing, what they continue to do on behalf of my dad. And this time next year, hopefully what we're working on is for this to become a play, The Man Behind the March to become a play, and hopefully that will help inspire not only people today, but also young people coming up behind us.
That is awesome. And before we go, Arlington, where can people find your book?
If you'd like to purchase the book, you can log on to manbehindthemarch.com, manbehindthemarch.com, and the paper copy is going for $15, and the hard copy is going for $20.
All right, thank you very much, Arlington, for being with us, and continue to enjoy the day as we continue to honor the legacy of Dr. King and, of course, your father and everything that you guys have built here in San Antonio when it comes to the MLK March locally.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your day, guys.
You too.
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
God bless.
Great stuff there, great stuff. And if you would like to learn more about Reverend Callies, check out our podcast this Saturday, the KSAT News Now podcast, where Arlington reads an excerpt from his book, The Man Behind the March.
Yeah, you can find it on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to get notified about those new episodes.
Oh yes, definitely some great stuff there. And he brings up a good point. There's so much untold history about the East Side, basically from the 60s to the 80s. Of course, the MLK March officially recognized here in San Antonio in 1987. So that gap in between, I think, is pretty interesting for him to kind of take a deeper dive into.
It still blows my mind that there are people in San Antonio that really don't know that this is the biggest march in the country. I have to tell people that all the time. So when it gets canceled in person, that is a big deal. So hopefully, God willing, next year they'll be able to be back in person.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Sarah, switching gears here a little bit.
Oh no, we've been putting this off.
Yes. Do you want to go here?
All right, so let's just say it. It's been a bad couple of hours for the Cowboys fans, and the team lost. We all know that. And some social media video shows fans throwing things at refs after the end of the game against the 49ers.
Yeah, so of course we cannot show sports highlights here because we're a streaming show and for copyright reasons, but this is a video off of Twitter. This is Jane Slater. She covers the NFL. She covers it for the NFL Network and the Cowboys. And this is some video that she posted on Twitter yesterday of these fans that were obviously upset, just chunking what it looks like bottles, maybe some, I don't even want to know what else, throwing some stuff at the refs as they were walking off. Even one of them right there nearly hitting Cowboys DeMarcus Lawrence as he had to like block that item with his helmet. You could see it right there. Yeah, Sarah, have you ever gotten so upset that you've had to throw stuff at officials? I've heard about you in the KSAT softball games.
Well, you know, that's neither here or there, RJ. But like, let's hear what Dak Prescott had to say about it.
I think they were aiming at the referees.
They were.
Credit to them then.
That's a tank.
Yeah.
They weren't doing it.
Oh, credit to them. I guess that's why the refs took off and got out of there so fast. So I mean, yeah, I think everybody's upset with the way that this thing played out.
Okay, so RJ, you said after he said something like this, do you think he's going to get fined for something like this?
I think he'll definitely get fined. And I get it. I understand the frustration over this loss, but you cannot ever, in any sort of situation, sort of condone fans throwing things onto the field, not only to the refs, but also to the players as well.
Okay,
it could be very dangerous.
So because I didn't understand the rules of this, and you know, I'm watching it at home, and everyone's explaining to me, and you and David explained it earlier.
We've been talking about
the whole ball, the touching the ball incident. So who's at fault here? Some people are saying that it was the ref, but really it comes down to Dak Prescott having to make sure the ref, he shouldn't have centered the ball. He should have let the ref touch it.
I think it's a couple of things. I think, first of all, the play call, I think it was too risky of a play call to do with that amount of time left. And then Dak has to know that he has to let the official touch the ball before the next play can be snapped.
I heard Romo say it. Like, he said it right before it happened.
Yeah, so Romo was on it right away. And of course, Sarah, this has been again, a tough morning for Cowboys fans. And the memes show it here, because I don't know if you've seen some of these Cowboys fans memes. Oh my God, look at these sad Cowboys fans. It's like all over the place.
Sad music video.
I was thinking of that, like, I will remember you, or something
the
like
woman
that.
at the bottom, oh my gosh.
Yeah, tough beat. That woman at the bottom was crying with 4 minutes left in the game. I don't know what is going on. They were still in the game. But
it's been a tough year, you know, because it was such a roller coaster. You know, we thought, this is our year. Super Bowl, this is our year, but...
and then Nickelodeon having some fun with Coach McCarthy there. So, Here we go. Sarah
But
is
Sarah,
in her
hey.
Kansas City Chiefs red.
Your team won.
I was really hoping for a Chiefs Cowboys
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Because
Yeah.
I'm a Chiefs fan primarily, but then a Cowboys
Yeah.
fan secondarily. So,
Yeah.
Is that why
what
you
a
wore the
hard
red?
game.
Did you plan to wear the red for the Kansas City?
No,
Cool.
but we'll
Okay.
make it seem that way.
There we go.
You had your red scarf on yesterday. So
I did.
know, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Sarah.
I know.
But hey, guys.
You always represent Mahomes,
Thanks.
the Chiefs. Yeah.
Yeah, I
you
got
always
to.
represent.
I got to. I was born there for people
Oh.
who don't know. So, yeah. So guys, it's very dry outside. You know,
Yeah.
when it's this dry, I say it's chapstick weather, right? Because you need the extra chapstick. But I mean, it's more than that. And I'll show you a fun little graphic here in just a
Ooh,
bit.
okay.
But yeah, let's take a look at the dew points right now outside. Dew points in the teens and even in the single digits in some areas. That's beyond our scale. That's way down at the bottom of our humidity scale. So not only is it chapstick weather, but it's also static electricity weather. All right,
boy.
static shock forecast. Super shocking today because it's very dry out there. So, you know, if you shuffle around and you touch the doorknob, you might end up ending
shoes.
up with some static electricity. We used to do that as kids to nothing guys? No.
I'm trying to shock RJ. It's not working.
Yeah, it's been happening a lot. I've been noticing
you
it at home.
go.
Yeah, not Sarah shocking me, but just in general, I've been
I
getting
keep
shocked all
shocking
over
my
the
dogs.
place.
Every time I pet
Yeah.
my dogs, I'm like, no, I'm sorry.
That's forecast verification there.
Yeah.
So we go beyond if it's going to rain
That's
or not.
great stuff.
Hey.
Yeah.
Talk about static electricity. But there's actually more I want to talk about in the forecast because even though today is going to be a beautiful day, we're going to be able to see temperatures climb all the way up to 70 degrees with abundant sunshine. We have got a few things in the mix this week that could end up really kind of disrupting your work week weather. So first thing to know is that tomorrow and Wednesday are going to be fairly warm in the afternoon. In fact, Wednesday will be close to 80 degrees, but we get a cold front on Wednesday, and then look at the high temperature on Thursday. We'll likely struggle to get out of the 30s on Thursday, and on top of that, I do think we could have some light wintry mix on Thursday as well, but this will not be Snowmageddon 2.0. Okay, I want to just put everybody's mind at ease there. But something to expect is that on Thursday, we're going to be watching the radar very carefully because generally north of Highway 90, there's going to be a chance for some sort of wintry mix, whether that's sleet, freezing rain, or even a few snowflakes. We'll have to wait and see. Thursday's a little bit outside of our 2020 vision. The details are a bit fuzzy, but what we do know is that there is a chance for wintry precipitation in San Antonio and across the hill country on Thursday. Likely a light wintry mix, but still something we're going to keep in mind and keep a watch on. The best way for you to stay updated in the weather, not only by watching KSAT News Now and all of our KSAT products, but also having the Weather Authority app handy because we'll send push notifications right to your phone. We can actually go live right to your phone. So keep that in mind. Again, we are expecting that cold front on Wednesday. We'll go from near 80 to struggling to get out of the 30s. So the ground is going to be a little warm. So again, as far as impacts go, we have to wait, RJ and Sarah, until closer to Thursday to get a better understanding of what the impacts may be. Do you guys have any questions about the potential light wintry
I do. So
on Thursday?
So I know, like, when it's got, like, for example, yesterday you talked about it got down to 32, but only for 30 minutes. So
Yeah.
these freezing temps, are they going to maybe stick around for longer for a harder freeze, like really bring the plants in, stuff like that?
That's a great question there, Sarah. Now, I think that we'll still have a fairly light freeze by Friday morning and Saturday morning because, look, we're just barely going to be below freezing on those days, but a little bit longer of a time below freezing Thursday night and Friday night. So I'd say bring in the plants by Wednesday just in case if you don't want them to get any ice on them from a light wintry mix. That's a good precaution to have. But again, I don't expect a hard freeze, and I do not expect February 2021 to happen again.
Yeah.
With this.
Well, that's great information. I'm still trying to get to the static electricity forecast. That makes so much sense.
We were over
I
here.
was wondering why I was like, why is everything
You need
so
socks
shocking?
on, guys. You're grounded with your fluffy shoes and your nice
My
shoes.
fluffy shoes
Hey.
aren't
Yeah,
electrified.
look at those shoes right there. Sarah's rocking some pretty cool flats there.
They're cute. They're
Hey, thanks for letting me hang out with you guys today.
Of
I'll
course,
be back
always
tomorrow
a
too.
pleasure.
Pulling for
Sarah
the
Spivey.
Chiefs now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go Chiefs.
Thank you,
Go
Sarah.
Chiefs. Well, thank you very much, Sarah. And I just wanted to go through a couple of quick Facebook comments that we had here, because obviously I asked people earlier, I was like, well, what are your thoughts on the Cowboys game? And yeah, it's not so good. Aurelia Guerrero says, we were so wishing for a Hail Mary and a Cowboys win. That's basically
Weren't
what it
we
means.
all? Weren't we all?
April Dawn says she's just excited for halftime.
Yeah, me too.
What's that all about?
No, like, so she's saying she was hoping for the Cowboys to be in the Super Bowl, and now she's just excited for halftime. And I feel like that's kind
nice.
of where I am.
Thank you for clearing that up. Yeah.
That's where I am right now.
Yeah, who's performing that Super Bowl halftime?
Okay, it was Dr. Dre, Snoop
That's right.
Dogg. It's a lot of
The
like
LA Super Bowl.
yeah,
That's why.
it's kind of like all the
Good shots, eh?
throwbacks.
Yeah.
There's someone new in there. I think is Kendrick Lamar in there?
I think
Did
he
I make
is.
that up?
Yeah, yeah.
Nope. Yes.
Do a little,
Okay.
yeah, a little SoCal hip hop scene there. Maria Ortiz is asking about the zoo, and yes, that is the price all day, $8 as they honor Betty White. And Peter Alec saying Happy MLK Jr. Day.
We have a lot of Cowboys comments.
Do you have any more?
Okay, Jeanette says they lost because the coaches chose not to make the right adjustments. Hey, it came down to penalties though. Like with the team with the
A
more
lot of penalties.
the most penalties didn't win.
Yeah,
So
yeah. A lot of penalties from the Cowboys there. So hopefully, fans, you guys can get over this and not become a meme.
we can get over this.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Sarah, for being with us this
Of
morning.
course,
We
and
appreciate it.
excited
I
to
know
be
you
part
were.
of the day that it's officially become a podcast as well.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. I should have definitely brought that up. Yes, this is now going to be a podcast. So anywhere you subscribe to podcast, make sure to subscribe to it, like it, rate it, 5 stars.
5 stars.
Maybe.
Let's give it like 6 stars if that's a thing.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for being with us. We will see you tomorrow on KSAT News Now at 11 a.m.
Happy Monday.